I wanted you to be aware this is not a typical FEMA has a hurricane response in the reimbursement posture. This is entirely different under the National Contingency Plan, and that we work with BP. They are the responsible party. They do have the right to be involved and coordinate and contract, and but you want them to spend the money up front, and they are here from cradle to grave, from beginning to end, including business impact. They have already opened up 10 claims offices in northern Florida with local people on the ground there to assist with any claims. The Oil Liability Trust Fund is readily available, and I believe it's our own Senator Nelson that's making a recommendation that that trust fund ceiling be elevated. Pardon me. Coast Guard has an excellent and very large coordinated effort underway. Some additional actions. I shared with the county attorney last week a sample state of emergency should it become necessary, since it's a little different in language and read related to the governor's actions and the BP response. We have got a claims coordination process for local government now, and most importantly, Secretary Soules has committed that rather than using local funds, should they be needed, and again, he stresses letting BP manage this up front and support BP and expedite BP, but he is more importantly recommending that if additional resources are needed, that you let the state contract and you let the state front those costs rather than be reimbursed. So my compliments to the state in being able to put that cash out the door first rather than us having to carry that financial burden. We are prepared, again, to run media briefings. We are very much ready to put together a consolidated environmental effort. We may not activate the EOC, but we might bring all of the stakeholders together and make sure that we are deconflicting all of the information that's made available. We have, if I'll turn your attention to the GIS mapping resources that we have done, and thanks to Burt Miller, Rookery Bay, and others, we have gotten the area contingency plan noted here and updated with new aerial photography and geometry on our particular beaches. This will give us a baseline of anything we need to do, whether it's absorbent or dividing the mission up in sectors. This is a very small resolution, but we have the area boom plan. Again, boom is not the primary methodology, but we have got very good visualization now of the vast areas and the environmentally sensitive areas in Collier County, so that if we have to go to work, there won't be any question geographically where we need to be. The media and Coast Guard has done an excellent job of keeping the information current real time. These are the 5 websites that I think are the best, particularly incidentnews.gov and Deepwater Horizon Response. Everything the Coast Guard's been doing has been very open, forthright, and readily available for discussion. Let me mention to you collection methodologies real quick. You saw the large boom. You see this boom application here. And understand that booming is for heavy sheen product on the surface. That's what the northern counties are faced with should that heavy sheen or slick move forward. What the Secretary has reminded us that if this spill comes this far south, this will be a very weathered product and the boom will not be affected, meaning that the product is likely to be in different layers of the water column. Some of it could be near the bottom, some of it mid along the water column, some of it on the surface. So, and it could be something referred to as tar patties or tar balls or even tar strings as this material weathers. So while we would think that the best interest is to put boom out, boom is only gathering the first inch or two off of the top of the surface, and we have to go to other techniques. The other techniques may be the absorbent pads. There are a lot of things being reviewed by NOAA and Coast Guard. They can be synthetic materials, natural materials, the chemical dispersants, and that kind of thing. But even this is not the magic bullet in terms of what may happen with this material weathering throughout the water column. So to tell you that there's an easy fix or an easy remediation is not correct yet if, and again I stress if, any of that does wash up here. It basically may wind up to hand-type collection. This is what we have done. We took the area contingency plan. This is one of the efforts that Burt Miller's folks have done a great job with. This happens to be deflection booming at Marco, so we have this already mapped out to scale. We can hand this to Coast Guard and contractors, and they know immediately how to go to work. We've identified staging areas for the very large land-based operation that will be necessary to support this. This is a slightly different pattern. This is if we have to collect it. Now, granted, we're mapping this as booming, but we understand that the material may be entirely different. Again, the good news here is the consolidation of the GIS information that Burt, Rookery, the city, and others have helped us put together. So you have the large illustration here. So we can manipulate and zoom this so that we can very quickly go to work without having to deconflict any of the geographical or beach issues. In summary, we're ready to go to work. We think that BP is ready to act swiftly. We have the ability to bring BP here at some point should it become necessary. And we want to make sure that we centralize our operations out of the EOC with all the different stakeholders so we can coordinate accordingly. I've been in touch throughout the process with Jack Wirt from Tourism, with Gary McAlpin, who is here. Jonelle is here also from CVB, Mike Bauer at the city, and also the mayor, and to keep them abreast. If necessary, I've also had one briefing with the fire service and may have another this week to keep them updated. So I think we're fairly well positioned, and I'll stop here and let you know that we have an abundance of numbers and information that we can refer individuals to. And let's see if you have any questions.
Commissioner Fiala.
Yes, I have 3 questions. The first one, somebody just asked me this morning, how old was this rig that exploded?
Ma'am, I do not have the age of that particular rig, and I do know this was a very unusual deep water, hence the word Deepwater Horizon is the name of the rig. I do know this was a very unusual depth type operation, and certainly some of the preliminary indications now are that they hit some type of methane or natural gas pocket that generated this. So I'm sorry I don't have the history. I'll look into that.
Yeah, I was just, if you can, just email me then.
Yes,
tell me
ma'am.
how old the rig was so I can tell this person. Second of all, it said some of the absorbents. One of them it mentioned was hay. Is it hay or straw?
Ma'am, it can be either one, but the state has told us today that only the hay or the straw, the silt fences are only effective with heavy product and the material that's on the surface. If this becomes lighter, in terms of a lighter sheen, or it becomes the balls or the patty, the hay, the straw, the horsehair, and the silt fences are likely not to be very effective. But they are reviewing those options as we speak.
My last question, by the way, I want to thank you for coming out to the Marco Island Kiwanis Club next week. That's very nice of you because they're all very concerned being
Yes,
a barrier island out there, or I don't know if it's a barrier island, an island. Let me just call it that.
Yes, ma'am.
You were mentioning the people that you had met with. Did you meet with the new interim city manager over on Marco?
I presented to the Marco City Council at their regular meeting. We talked briefly, but I gave them somewhat of and again, it was about a week old, but I gave them an abbreviated presentation at Marco City Council, so they're aware. Also had one meeting with the Marco Fire Chief on some of the early boom strategies.
Thank you.
Commissioner Henning.
I'm noticing in some of the photographs of the spill that the oil is actually turning a reddish tint. And I'm told that because of the salinity in the water, that it's turning the oil into an algae. Is that true?
I can't confirm the algae, but what we are seeing is the natural weathering. The federal authorities, NOAA's scientific support, are looking at all types of alternatives. If it is algae, can we use some other microbe-type material to help break it down in addition to the chemical dispersants? That orange is a natural weathering, much beyond the biology of that change. Don't have the expertise to give you the details. I'll be glad to find out some more information, sir.
Commissioner Coletta.
Just one little note. I wanted to remind the public out there that the Collier County Commission has been opposed to drilling off the coast of Florida. In fact, I believe the chair has written a letter to our state delegation to that effect.
You betcha.
If anything, I think this gives us more reason to reconfirm our original decision and stay with it.
Good. Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you.
Good.